Hi everybody, I'm Jessica and welcome back to the Try Veg Test Kitchen. Today I'm kicking off a series of vegan pancake recipes inspired by iconic American breakfast menus. There has been so much progress recently with restaurants offering plant-based options on their menus, from Beyond Meat being offered at Subway and Dunkin' to the Impossible Whopper unveiling at Burger King. But you know what's still missing? Breakfast options. We want pancakes. That's why Compassion Over Killing and Vegan Outreach have teamed up to launch a campaign to get IHOP to add vegan pancakes to the menu. So this is going to take a lot of work, and any good thing takes patience. So in the meantime, while we work with IHOP to get their menu together, I'm going to bring you 5 simple and delicious pancake recipes that you can make at home. Today, I'm going to show you how to make some swirly and sweet cinnamon roll pancakes with a delicious creamy cream cheese glaze. Let's get cooking. So before we start cooking the recipe, I want to give you a rundown of the ingredients, because I want to highlight that, for these recipes, it's become so much easier as a vegan to find the things that you'll need inside your typical grocery store. Pretty much everything that I have here, you'll be able to find in the store. And if you can't, it's only a click away. So let's get into the ingredients. First things first, I'm going to be using some almond milk, but you can use any plant milk that you like. I'm also going to be using Bisquick. So the original Bisquick mix does not contain any dairy or eggs, so you should be pretty good to go when you're baking with this. Now, I think the gluten-free options, they add egg or milk too, so be wary of that and always check the labels when you're shopping. We're also going to be using vegan butter. This is the vegan I can't believe it's not butter, and I actually picked this up because this was the least expensive vegan butter that they had in the store, and this was about just over $3 a tub, so not bad. These vegan specialty items are becoming more and more affordable, so that's a wonderful thing. Next up, we're going to be using cream cheese from one of my absolute favorite vegan brands, Follow Your Heart. This cream cheese is delicious. The texture and flavor are awesome, and we're going to use it to make our delicious creamy cream cheese glaze. We're also going to be using some agave nectar in this recipe. We'll be using it in the pancake batter and also in the glaze, but you could swap it out for confectioner sugar. You could swap it out for maple syrup, any vegan sweetener of your choice. I'm going with agave nectar because, well, honestly, it's just what I already had around. Confectioner sugar might be a little bit more ideal for the cream cheese glaze if you want it to have a pure white appearance. This adds a little bit of tint, and that's just something to keep in mind if you're making it and you're considering using like brown sugar or coconut sugar or something like maple syrup in the glaze. It will make it a little bit brown. The tint will come off. So if you want it to be a bright white cream cheese glaze, try confectioner sugar, and if you don't care, use whatever you've got around. We're also going to be using the Follow Your Heart vegan egg mixture. Once again, I absolutely love this product for baking and things like pancakes. A little bit goes a long way, and I found so many uses for this, so you'll see how I use it in today's recipe. I'm also using some baking powder. Now, this is completely optional. You can put this recipe together without it, but I want my pancakes to be extra light and fluffy, so I'm going to be adding about a teaspoon of baking powder to my mix. And then finally, I'm going to be using a generous amount of cinnamon when we make our cinnamon batter. That's going to create the beautiful cinnamon roll swirl in our pancakes. So that's all the ingredients that we'll be using in this recipe. Let's start cooking, you guys. So let's begin. In this bowl, I have 1 1/2 cups of Bisquick mix, and I'm going to add to it 3 tablespoons of the Follow Your Heart egg, and then also I have a teaspoon of baking powder in here. Just add that in. And then I also have 1.5 cups of the almond milk. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. Okay. And then we're just going to mix it until smooth. So you want to make sure it's well combined, but you do not want to over mix it. So we're going to mix it all up. So everything is mixed now. It's pretty smooth. There are still a few lumps, but that's okay. So now I'm going to use this 1/4 cup measurer to take out a 1/4 cup of batter and put it into this bowl. And it doesn't have to be a perfect amount. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to move this aside so I have some space to work with. And then I'm going to add in our cinnamon and agave nectar. So once again, this little portion of batter is going to be what provides the cinnamon swirl to our cinnamon roll pancakes. So I'm going to be very, very generous here with the cinnamon. I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons. I'm just going to eyeball it, but you can definitely use measurements if that makes you more comfortable. Okay. And then I'm going to add in our agave nectar. This is going to be closer to like 1 to 2 tablespoons of agave nectar. We want it to be sweet, but we are going to be putting a glaze on top, and we also don't want this to burn too quickly. So that's why I'm using a little bit less agave nectar on that. So there we go. We have our agave nectar in here, and now I'm just going to stir this up until it's smooth as well and well combined. Okay, so now we have our 2 batters here mixed until well combined. And with the cinnamon batter, what I'm going to do is put it in a freezer bag. So you could use like a sauce bottle, or you could even use a pastry bag if you have one. But I'm just going to put this in a Ziploc bag and cut the corner off the tip so that I can, you know, lay on our cinnamon swirls once our batter is on the griddle. But before we start cooking, I'm going to put together our cream cheese glaze really quickly. So let's do that. So making our cream cheese glaze is really easy. All I've done is add about a half container of this vegan cream cheese by Follow Your Heart to a bowl, and I'm just going to mix it up till it's smooth with a fork with about 2 to 4 tablespoons of agave nectar. Not too much. We do want it to be sweet, but we don't want it to be like sickly sweet. And so we're going to get that all smooth. And then I'm just going to use a few tablespoons or splashes of almond milk as I go to get the consistency thinned out a little bit so it's pourable. But yeah, so we're just going to eyeball everything, but I give you some guidelines in the written recipe. I'd say about 2 to 3 tablespoons of almond milk and maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of the agave nectar should get you set. So I'm going to start off by like smashing it down with my fork. I always find that that's the first step to making anything smooth. And you know what? I actually have a whisk, so I'm going to use that as well, or pull it out in case I need it. All right, so that's gotten it pliable. Sometimes if your whisk is really small, you know, stiff things don't really mix well with it. So I wanted to soften it up with the fork first. Okay, so that's soft enough. Now I'm just going to go ahead and whisk it with the whisk. And it's a little too thick. So what I'm going to do is now is the time to add in the agave nectar to thin things out a little bit. So like I said, about 2 tablespoons to start. I don't want to overdo it. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to add in some of the almond milk just to start to thin it out a bit. All right, now our glaze is all done. So I'm going to add it to this jar for easy pouring. So here we have it, our cream cheese glaze. So I'll be back in just a moment and we'll get to the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to make some pancakes. Okay, so it's time to cook. I have a griddle set up here. It is on 350 degrees, but you could just set your flame or your griddle to medium high if you don't have it set by degrees. So we're letting this heat up, and I'm going to use our vegan butter to grease our cooktop. You could also use cooking oil spray, but I'm going to be using this butter today. So I'm just eyeballing it. I just want to make sure there's enough so nothing sticks. And it also imparts a really nice flavor. So there we go. got our butter. Then I'm just going to use my skillet to move it around. My spatula to move it around so that evenly coats the surface. And once it starts to sizzle, you pretty much know that it's hot enough to add your batter on. So I don't want to risk any of my pancakes sticking together, so I'm pretty much only going to cook 3 at a time. All right, well coated. So sit that here, and then I'm going to use a 1/3 cup measurer to measure out the batter onto the griddle. That way you get even sized pancakes. They're not too big, they're not too small. I think that depending on how hungry you are, a serving size is like 2 to 3 of these. You can make them larger if you like, but I just find that they cook more evenly around, a little bit more consistently when I use the 1/3 cup measurer. So I'm going to start scooping that out now. And sometimes you have to help it get a nice round shape because this batter is a little bit thicker than what you might be used to from making pancakes, with animal products. I find that the batter is a little thinner. So we're going to help to spread it out just a bit. Yep. Alrighty. And this is number 3. There we go. All right, so we've got 3 pancakes on the griddle, and then I'm going to take our cinnamon batter. So like I said, I put mine into a Ziploc bag. That was just the easiest thing I could personally do to get this squeezable for our recipe. So I'm just going to cut a small tip off. You don't want to cut the hole too big because then it will come out too fast. And then I'm just going to create swirls. Let's see, start in the middle, work your way out. There you go. Start in the middle, work your way out. There you go. Start in the middle, work your way out. And lovely. And I find that the more that you do it, obviously the better that you get at it. So, practice makes perfect, but pancakes don't need to be perfect as long as they taste good, right? So now we're just going to let these cook on the griddle for about 3 to 4 minutes until you start to see bubbles along the surface and the edges look dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip them over. So I'll be back when it's time to flip them. So as you can see, little puffs of steam are starting to come out of the bubbles on the surface of the pancakes, and they're really bubbly on top. Part of that extra bubbliness is because I added extra baking powder. So if you don't use it, you may not see as many bubbles, but you'll still get a nice fluffy pancake. So with all that said, I actually turned down my cooktop a few degrees because there's going to be more sugar on this side of the pancake from the cinnamon sugar batter, and also just because I don't want anything to burn, I want it to cook nice and evenly, so I'm willing to take my time with it. So I'm ready to flip. Wish me luck. Okay. Oh, beautiful. All right, let's do it again. Yes. And here we go. Boom. All right, so we have 3 beautiful golden brown pancakes on one side. So I'm going to let these cook for an additional about 3 minutes on the other side with a reduced heat. Yeah, my heat is sitting around 275 to 300 right now. I might inch it up or down as I go just to make sure that they're cooked through and they're not burning. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cook these on the other side, and then it'll be time to plate them up and top them with our glaze. So our pancakes have cooked through beautifully on both sides. So I'm going to take these off the griddle, make the next batch, and then after that we're going to top them with our creamy, delicious cream cheese glaze. So here we have it, a fluffy stack of cinnamon roll pancakes. Let's glaze these babies. I hope you like this recipe. If you did, please like this video and share it with a friend. And in the comments, let me know what flavor of vegan pancakes you think I'm going to make next week. If you want to support Compassion Over Killing's campaign with vegan outreach to encourage IHOP to add vegan pancakes to the menu, click the link in the description box to sign our campaign and make these pancakes or any other vegan pancakes that you love and post them to Facebook and Instagram and let @IHOP know that we want #vegan pancakes. Every voice matters. So, in the meantime, I will see you in the next video. And I want to make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss this series or any other vegan recipe videos or amazing content that we post to this channel. I will see you next week, everybody. Bye.